5 screen time mistakes that affect your baby's attention span. 2 babies grow up in nearly identical homes. Same income, same love, same bedtime routine, same amount of reading before bed. By age 4, one can sit and focus on a puzzle for 20 minutes without looking up. The other can't make it through a single picture book without squirming away. Same parents, same intentions. So what actually split these 2 kids apart? Researchers now think part of the answer is sitting in almost every living room in America, quietly running in the background of daily life. There's a term for what's happening here: attentional capture. It's what happens when a screen trains a baby's brain to expect constant novelty, constant motion, constant new stimulation. And over time, that expectation can quietly reshape how a child's focus develops, long before anyone notices a problem. Here are 5 common screen habits that researchers link to this pattern. And stick around for number 3, because it's the one almost every parent does without ever realizing it's happening. The first mistake is background TV. Picture this. It's a normal weekday afternoon. The baby's on a playmat with blocks, and the television is on in the background, tuned to the news or a show for older siblings. Nobody's really watching it. Dr. Daniel Anderson at the University of Massachusetts Amherst filmed toddlers playing with toys while a TV played nearby, and tracked how often they glanced toward the screen, even when the content wasn't made for them at all. His research found babies look toward background TV every few minutes, and each glance fragmented their play, cutting the length of their focused attention on the toy in front of them. The mechanism is simple. A baby's attention system is wired to orient toward movement and sound. So a flickering screen, even one nobody's actually watching, repeatedly pulls focus away from whatever they were building or exploring. This doesn't mean a TV in the room makes you a bad parent. Plenty of loving, attentive households have a TV on sometimes while dinner gets made. This is about awareness, not another rule to follow perfectly. The second mistake is fast-paced content. Think of a baby propped up watching a colorful app with quick cuts, popping sounds, and characters that change every couple of seconds. Dr. Dimitri Christakis at Seattle Children's Hospital studied fast-paced, non-educational programming and its association with later attention difficulties, tracking children over time from toddlerhood into early school age. His work pointed to a real pattern. Content edited for rapid stimulation trains a baby's brain to expect the next hit of novelty every few seconds, which can make the slower pace of real life. A book, a quiet conversation, a puzzle that takes patience feel understimulating by comparison. One fast-paced show on a rainy afternoon isn't going to rewire anything. It's the steady diet, not the occasional treat, that researchers say actually matters here. The third mistake, the one to stay for, is using a screen to end a meltdown. A baby is overtired, crying in a grocery cart. Other shoppers are starting to look, and a phone appears with a video. And the crying stops almost instantly. It works so well, so reliably, that it quietly becomes the go-to tool for every hard moment. Dr. Jenny Radesky at the University of Michigan has studied this pattern closely, observing how consistently reaching for a screen to soothe distress can interrupt a baby's own development of self-regulation, the internal skill of learning to calm down without something outside of them doing it for them. The mechanism. Every time a screen interrupts a hard feeling, before the baby has a chance to practice writing it out, that self-soothing muscle gets a little less exercise. the same way a limb gets weaker without use. You are not a bad parent for using a screen in a hard moment in public. Every single parent has done this more than once. One meltdown handled with a video does not undo anything you've built. The fourth mistake is unlimited access rather than clear, predictable windows. Imagine a toddler who can ask for the tablet at almost any point in the day and mostly gets a yes because saying no in the moment feels harder than saying yes. Research compiled in the American Academy of Pediatrics Media Guidelines, shaped in part by the work of Dr. Michael Rich at Harvard Medical School Center on Media and Child Health, has found that unpredictable, open-ended screen access is associated with more difficulty transitioning off screens and lower tolerance for boredom in general. The mechanism is about predictability, a brain that never knows when the next screen moment is coming, stays primed and searching for it. The same way we check our own phones more often when notifications arrive randomly instead of on a schedule. This isn't about becoming a rigid, perfect schedule keeper. It's about giving your baby's brain a predictable rhythm instead of an open tap they're always half waiting on. The fifth mistake is co-viewing without any real interaction. A parent sits their baby in front of an educational show, phone in hand, physically present in the room, but not actually engaged with what's on screen. Dr. Rachel Barr at Georgetown University has researched something called the transfer deficit. The finding that young children learn far less from a screen alone than they do from a real person narrating and responding to that same content in real time. Her studies found babies learned new words and actions dramatically better when an adult pointed, repeated, and reacted alongside them during screen time, compared to watching the exact same content solo. The mechanism is that a baby's brain treats a responsive adult as a signal that something matters. Without that response, the content on screen barely registers as important at all. This isn't a call to narrate every single second of every show, start to finish. It's just awareness that a little bit of your attention multiplies what the screen actually teaches, sometimes many times over. So what do you actually do with all of this? It comes down to 3 simple moves. First, notice the trigger. Before the screen goes on, ask yourself in your head, is this boredom, distress, or a genuine break I actually need right now? Naming it takes 2 seconds and changes nothing about your day, but it turns an automatic habit into a small, conscious choice. Second, narrate instead of disappear. If the screen is on anyway, drop in one small line like, "Oh, look, the dog is running. Where do you think he's going?" instead of stepping away entirely while it plays. You don't have to sit through the whole thing. Even a few seconds of real response changes what the baby's brain does with what they're seeing. Third, close the loop. When the screen turns off, say the same phrase every time. Something like, "All done, let's go find something new." So your baby's brain learns predictable endings instead of abrupt ones. Over weeks, this one small habit is what builds the tolerance for transitions that a lot of parents assume is just personality. Here's the bigger picture. A brain development app promises to build your baby's attention span through colorful games and little rewards that ping and light up. But an app cannot notice that your baby just discovered how a spoon falls off a table and got completely fascinated by gravity for the very first time. It cannot pause. Meet that exact spark of interest and follow it with warmth. Only a present parent, sitting nearby with nothing more than attention, can do that. No subscription, no algorithm, no beautifully designed interface can replicate a real adult responding in real time to what a baby is actually curious about in this exact, unrepeatable moment. Go back to those two 4-year-olds, one absorbed in a puzzle, one unable to sit still through a single page. The difference was never about intelligence, or how much either child was loved, or which parent tried harder. It was about how often a small, real voice showed up next to the flickering ones. Somewhere in your baby's day, right now, there's a 2-minute window where nothing else is asking for their attention but you. And in that ordinary, easy-to-miss moment, you are not waiting around to matter later. You already do. If this changed how you see screen time, consider subscribing. We post new videos on baby development every week. If it helped, drop a like before you go. See you in the next one. This channel is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical or psychological advice. Always consult a qualified professional regarding your child's development.